How you doing?
Very good, thanks.
Where are you? L.A.?
No, well, I'm on the same coast, but I'm just up in Vancouver right now.
Oh, you're here. Well, welcome home.
Yeah, thank you kindly. I'm spending the Christmas with my family up here.
We got a lot of movies opening in the next couple of weeks.
I see. Yeah, I got one with Kevin Spacey called Casino Jack, and then in the new year, I guess the Kennedy series, miniseries, and then I did the Terrence Malick film.
You're working with all the big directors, hey? Is there anyone left on that list for you?
Oh, sure. I mean, the list goes on, but certainly the Coens and Malick were certainly on the top of my wish list. Like so many actors.
Well, you mentioned the Coen brothers. Obviously, you're calling for True Grit because it opens on Wednesday. You want to tell us about the film, I guess?
Yeah, well, it's I think one of the finer Coen brother films that I've seen in a long time. I'm such a huge fan of their filmography, and this just further elevates their awesome work. And I don't know about you, but I've always been a devoted fan of theirs. And you watch this film, and it's very Coen-esque, and yet it's very much also a departure from their other work, in that it is a faithful adaptation of this novel, this amazing classic novel by Charles Portis. And it's entirely from the voice of this 14-year-old girl. It's really sort of her coming of age adventure story, and she goes off into the Indian nation after this killer that shot down her father with this old drunken marshal by the name of Rooster Cogburn, and the Coens have, like I say, gone back to the novel, and it's a faithful adaptation in the sense that I think when John Wayne did the film in '69, the Henry Hathaway film, they kind of adapted it to be more of a John Wayne film to suit his audience. And it kind of overshadowed the original source material and became something very different, whereas the book is extremely funny and dark and odd, and the movie, the Coens film, really reflects that sense of humor.
A dark and odd movie from the Coen brothers, you don't say.
Yeah, I mean, it just fits them like a calfskin glove. You'd never know that this was an original material, but it's beat for beat as it reads in the novel.
How close is your portrayal to Robert Duvall's in the original film? Did you watch it all to get in a sense?
No, I'd never seen Robert Duvall's. I'd never seen the original film until somebody mentioned to me after I'd been offered the role, and I'd put my character together. Somebody said, Robert Duvall has played that character before, and I felt like a bit of a jackass. I had some really big boots to fill, but it never came up in filming. We never used that. Like I say, never used the John Wayne film as a source. It really was the novel, and the novel has a tremendous backstory that you can pull characterization from. One of the things in particular was a year previous to meeting our characters in the film, the Rooster Cogburn character shoots my character in the face, and so that was something that I really wanted to try to capture, with that all the broken teeth and the busted up jaw, and he has a big scar on his upper lip, and it really informed the sound of the character that I created, but beyond that, there's certain things that are very, very set in terms of who the character is and what he looks like and how he walks and talks and what he wears, and then the rest is up to interpretation. Working with the Coen brothers.
Tell me about working with Jeff Bridges.
I think Jeff is similar to all the great actors that I've worked with. Very similar to a Tom Hanks, and he just has this water off a duck's back personality. Just nothing phases him. He works with tremendous joy and passion, and it's like a ripple effect on a film set. It's infectious for everyone. Everyone is happy to be on a film set with him because he's a real pleasure to be around, and that's unique. On a big, arduous, tough film set. You're up in the mountains and it's snowing and it's miserable and tough conditions, and you got a guy like that who just is, reminding you what a great job you got, and it's a real pleasure to be around people like that, because it can be the opposite. It can go pretty sour sometimes with other big actors.
Oh yeah, like who? No, I'm kidding. Don't answer that.
Yeah.
On that same topic, though, or train of thought, kind of the Coen brothers. I hear working with them, it's different. I mean, you've worked We mentioned before a couple of directors, but I mean Tony Scott, Darabont, Spike Lee, even Clint Eastwood.
Well, they're very similar. Steven Spielberg produced this film as well with Scott Rudin, and that's what it's very similar to a Spielberg or a Clint Eastwood film set, in that it's very calm, cool, collected, and they speak to you in a very intelligent and challenging way, and it just gets the best results. Their films obviously speak for themselves, but yeah, actors flourish in environments like that, and they challenge you in the sense to really invest yourself in the characters that you're bringing in, and because they're such well-read, intelligent guys, and they have such just interesting sort of lateral minds, the way that they work and challenge you, and what they have to offer. It's a very, very enjoyable place to work.
I'm sure it is, and I'm sure it's been very enjoyable for you in various facets over the years, even with Clint Eastwood, who I mentioned earlier, with Flags of Our Fathers. Now, Eastwood obviously redefined the Western genre, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It did wonders for it. And now you're doing a Western. Do you take anything away from that experience, or was it more, were you just in awe of Clint Eastwood at the time?
And that's the thing, doing True Grit, you think of Eastwood, of course, he's just responsible for some of the greatest Westerns of all time. And so, working with him, you are in a little bit of awe, but he removes that instantly, because he is just such a super easygoing, salt of the earth kind of guy to work with, and he really is not. He's not at all like the cartoon characters that he's played. That he's sort of self-professed as calling them that. Those are just characters he played, and they really don't reflect his personality. But he is very much of a man's man, if you will, in the sense that I remember one day he wouldn't tell us where the explosions were on one of these battlefields. He just wanted to have us basically run the gauntlet as these explosions were going off, and to see the sort of, to capture that electricity in these young actors' eyes, and just having them having to navigate through this minefield, and of course the explosions are relatively safe. It's basically just an explosion of sand and debris, so you can't get too badly hurt. But I remember one day having a squib go off in my face and having this copper wire lodge itself in my upper lip, and he came up after the take, and I was bleeding and had this blood in my mouth, and I said, I think the medic says I might need to go and get stitches. And he reached over and pulled this copper wire out of my lip, and he said, I think you're fine. It's a long way from your heart. We got back to filming, and it was just kind of, it was just one of those moments that makes you realize this guy's been doing this forever, and I think he was 65 years old at the time that we were filming, and he was in the gym every night with us, working out, trying to stay in shape for the film, and so he was a remarkable inspiration.
Before I let you go, we do something called 5 questions, 5 quick questions, 1 word answers.
Sure.
Actor you look up to most?
Ooh, I have to say Jeff Bridges.
Lennon or McCartney?
Lennon.
Favorite director you've worked with?
Can I say 2 directors?
You can.
Coen Brothers.
Fair enough, yeah. Film you're most proud of?
The Snowwalker.
And 1 word, Barry Pepper.
Boy, that's a tough one. I don't know if I've figured that one out yet.
That's a good answer, though. And I'm going to throw a bonus one in here just for fun. Roger Maris or Dale Earnhardt?
Oh, I have to say Roger Maris.